right. Hey, everyone. We're going to get started. So welcome, everyone. My name is Benjamin Bruce. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm going to be your MC today for our presentation on dignity healthcare from a disability lens. So I'm going to read through our agenda and then I'm going to do a land acknowledgement as well as some housekeeping. And then we're going to hear from the folks with us today. So as you can see, we've got a lot on the agenda today. We're going to hear from Amber Cutter. Alex Jack could not be here today, but we are going to do their reading. We're going to hear from Angie Brown over here, as well as from me. I'm going to do a presentation on the Center for Sexuality. And then we're going to save the best for last. We're going to hear from Mike over here. And then, of course, we're going to have a questions and answers section. So if folks have questions, we'll have some answers. And then we'll also, just on the tech side, for the people online, we'll be able to answer their questions as well. Okay. So just to start, I'd like to acknowledge that this session is occurring on the territory of the Niitsitapi, or Blackfoot, and the people of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta. I would like to recognize the Treaty 7 nations who make their home on this land, including the Siksika, the Piikani, the Kainai, the Tsuut'ina, and the Iahay Nakota First Nation, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney First Nation. This land is also home to the Métis people. We're grateful to the people of Treaty 7 for taking such good care of this land so that we may enjoy such abundance, and recognize that we are all treaty people. Before we present, I do just want to give a quick reflection on the land acknowledgement, because a lot of our presentations and speeches today are that are in reference to the healthcare system here in Canada, is that we practice a lot of Western Eurocentric ideologies. And so I just want to put in perspective that a lot of the things that we will be talking about are from a Western perspective, so bear that in mind. So with our housekeeping, I'm gonna take this mic off. Get comfortable. We're gonna be using Teams chat, as I mentioned, so people can type in the chat. We'll also, I believe, have Amber hooked up to the chat so that she can answer questions, and they will be on the screen. We also have our ASL being done by Janice over here from KLM. And we just ask when people do ask questions or are speaking, that we are mindful that only one person speaking at a time. And we also have our closed captioner, Sophia. Those closed captions will be on the screen as well as online. Let me see what other housekeeping there is. This one mainly for me. I'm not a doctor. So if you are asking questions, please be mindful to plain language it and use language that is appropriate for people who are not studying the things that you all are studying. So without further ado, I'll introduce our first speaker, Amber Cutter.
Hi everyone. Today I feel it is very important to talk about not making people feel bad. As you can see, I am in a wheelchair. I am nonverbal and I use text-to-speech to communicate. I have cerebral palsy, and because of this, I need help with all of my daily routines. I often feel sad that I cannot do these things for myself. Even something as simple as brushing my teeth or scratching my own head if I have an itch is impossible. I only wish I could do these things for myself. In most cases, I have had wonderful care. But the odd time I have ran into healthcare aides or nurses that expect me to do things I can't. They often sigh or complain. I don't understand an able-bodied person making me feel bad for the things that are impossible for me to do. They are in a profession of helping others. It doesn't make sense to hurt someone's feelings. I already feel bad enough being in this body. You may not realize it, but I fully comprehend your attitude. My brain is fully intact. Empathy is such an important part of life. We need to respect each other and not make anyone feel bad for requiring help. Imagine how it feels to not be able to speak. I have had people put words in my mouth. They just assume what I'm trying to say. They get angry at me for no reason while I sit there in silence trying to understand how do I communicate with people when they have already made up their minds on what I am thinking or saying, even if it is not the case. It is very frustrating that people assume my brain works, but my typing skills are slow. If we just took the time to allow me to type my answer and to be patient, you would get the proper answer without assuming. I have had people mad at me because they never understood what I said. Imagine how I feel inside my head. I'm trying so hard to answer, but the words don't come out. Next time you meet someone who is nonverbal, remember, do not assume what they are trying to communicate. If one of your loved ones were in this position, how would you like them to be treated? This is what we all need to take into account, for we have to understand how other people feel. What if this was your mother, your father, your sister, or brother, or one of your good friends? Never forget that things can happen to your health at any given moment in your life. You could be in a position where you need help or are not able to verbally communicate. The next time someone requires help, stop. Think how you would feel in their situation. Show compassion. Learn to listen and especially show empathy. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber. Amber is a wonderful writer and has written so many things, articles as well. Correct? Yeah. So I encourage everybody to check out Amber Cutter's writing. They're wonderful. Thank you, Amber. We're now going to hear from Angie Brown. We switched. Oh, sorry. That was a joke. That was a joke, actually. Just seeing if everybody's paying attention to the agenda. We are actually going to do a play. So I'm going to invite up Colleen. I'm going to invite up Bruce, as well as Mike and Amber, and they're going to read a play done by Alex Jack from the Disability Action Hall. So without further ado.
Can everybody hear me? Okay, there we go. Andrew, a 30-year-old trans man who uses a manual wheelchair for mobility, has a medical appointment. He is late arriving because he got stuck on a steep, inaccessible wheelchair ramp in the building. He is wheeled into the room by a very patronizing security guard while looking visibly annoyed and embarrassed.
I told you I can push myself. I just need help on that ramp. It's hard to do it on my own.
It's okay, sweetheart. I know you're a special girl. I need help with everything. I am honored to help you.
Firstly, I'm a trans man, not a woman. Secondly, I need you to stop treating me like I'm a small child. I'm a grown adult and I'm perfectly capable of taking care of myself. I only needed help because the ramps here are steep, slippery, dangerous, and impossible for most people who use manual wheelchairs to navigate independently.
Andrew tries to wheel himself to the reception desk of the medical clinic, while the security guard refuses to let go of his wheel.
Please let go of my chair. I told you I didn't need your help anymore after you helped me up the ramp. I need you to listen to me and please respect my boundaries.
There, sweetie. I'm only here to help. It's okay. Just relax.
Allie, where have you been? It's 2 minutes late, young lady. You know what that means. You need to pay our 150 no-show fee. The doctor will still see you, however.
First of all, my name is Andrew, not Allie. And secondly, it's not my fault I'm running a bit behind. Your facility has wheelchair ramps that are inaccessible. Not only that, I'm on age and can barely afford rent, let alone groceries, so I don't think I will be able to pay that unfair no-show fee. And I don't know how many times I've told you, I'm an adult man, not a young woman, and I use he, him pronouns. I need you to please respect that.
Oh, feisty are we? You know, it's not okay to blame your problems on us and our office, which is fully wheelchair accessible. By the way, you need to take responsibility for your problematic behaviors, ma'am. Keep it up and we may need to put you on behavioral contract.
What's all the commotion out there? Oh, Andrew, you again and your non-compliance. Now get out of that wheelchair and walk into my office. We believe in independence here, not laziness.
This play was written by a Disability Action Hall member who lives with a physical, developmental, and mental health disability. It is based on real interactions that people with disabilities have had with their service providers. We encourage you to reflect on what you've just seen and ask yourself, how would you feel if you were in Andrew's shoes? What would you do differently as a future service provider? How could the physical environment, I'm sorry, how could the physical environment be altered so that Andrew didn't need assistance getting to his doctor's office? How you can help the disabled folks you will work with to have a more dignified experience when accessing services. Lastly, what are some ways that you can advocate for more accessible society? That's it.
Thank you, everyone. To the two Colleens, Bruce, Mike, and Amber. This time we'll actually have Angie Brown up to give her speech.
That's gonna be tender. Oh, okay, that's gonna be very tender, ouch. Sorry about that, everyone, I did not mean to do that, I hope it didn't hurt any ears. I am Angie Brown from High River. A little blip about myself, I have a rare disability, and I can kind of relate to what Amber's saying in another sense of, when my mom had my records transferred over to Alberta, they classified me as FASD when it's actually a very rare disability. So I know I'm a higher functioning person, but when they classified me with the wrong diagnosis, and still I'm very angry about it, to tell you the truth, to be honest. I'm trying to hide it as best as I can. But when I had learned about what my real disability is through my mom, who is loving and supporting and I don't know if she is able to watch this, but I thank you, Mom, and I love you very much. For being there when they did the wrong diagnosis, and my current roommate, Christian, aka Twinkie, who was kind enough to drive me in. But with what I have here, I was hoping to give you a weather update. But what God has done in my life is what I've shared with all of you and having every one of you here today. But today's weather update is unpredictable with a 50% chance, oh my goodness, 50% chance of snow, rain, hail, for mid-level rotations with a potential to grow from small to medium to large, depending on what life throws at us. When approaching a stormy area with like medical issues and stuff like that, please do not tell someone to get over it, because it's easier said than done. Be mindful when visiting a storm-damaged area. Please be compassionate, as everyone needs a listening ear to a point, and meet the weather with understanding and acceptance. You can't change the weather, so why do you think we can change a rough patch? Embrace and accept, and eventually the storm will calm down. Have a great week, everyone, and also thank you for taking the time out of your classes to come. And you all can say I'm nuts. I am a storm chaser and weather forecaster. I have to, sorry.
Good, thank you, Angie. For folks maybe who don't know Angie, do you want to let people know what you do on the side?
Oh, yes, of course, I can for sure do that. I also, on the side, I advocate with my friends from the Disability Action Hall and also SAF. I also do weather and storm chasing. It used to be a fear that I had, but the words that my roommate said driving down Deerfoot one day, why can't storms be fun? So that kind of clicked the switch in my head going, ew, I got into forecasting the weather, and I'm a storm chaser, so I know I'm nuts, I'm crazy, but at least I'm not afraid of them anymore. So it's what I do, and I also am part of Special Olympics. At my bowling tournament, I got second place with my team. So yeah, these are what I do on the side, and I'm very, very grateful that I reconnected with the Action Hall and with these guys, with these folks. I'm very, very grateful. And my advocacy and weather is blossoming like you wouldn't believe, and I'm very happy with the way things are going.
I'm also a storm chaser, but just in
Oh,
my
wait,
bedroom.
what, squirrel, what?
I was teasing
what?
Angie.
Dang!
Sorry.
The comedy hour.
Well, that actually brings me into
Okay, there,
myself.
Benjamin Buttons.
Yeah, so that brings me into talking about myself and the work that the Center for Sexuality is doing right now that you folks can sign up for if you would like. So the Center for Sexuality received a federally funded fund for $2.8 million. And that was to work with 4 different sectors. So we have our youth, and that's working with Two-Spirit LGBTQ+ youth, as well as Indigenous communities, and people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and then for our healthcare professionals. That's all y'all in the building. So what we've done with that is we have made online curriculums that folks can take. And so one of them is actually to do with healthcare and people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And so these curriculums were developed with the people. So we had disabled folks come in and help build and develop, give their input into our curriculum. And then from there, we've launched it. It's free for folks to take. It's the basics of just the step one to. Thank you, Angie. Step one of kind of the do's and don'ts in like the healthcare place and like the things that we can do to advocate for the sports that we need. And we also have our Two-Spirit LGBTQ plus one for youth, creating more inclusivity for folks to, when they enter into the healthcare system, things that healthcare providers can do to include everyone and be more inclusive. So if people, I'm one of the worst salesmen, but if people, it's free, want to sign up, you can reach out to the Center for Sexuality. I'm now going to introduce Mike and have him present. So.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much to all of you who came today. Today, I'd like to share with you a deeply personal story around health and wellness. It's a story about my wife's experience with the mental health system in Alberta. She has graciously allowed me to share this story on her behalf. I'm grateful for that because it's a story that makes me angrier than a bull at the Calgary Stampede. However, it is my hope that by sharing this story, I can empower you to be the change that the mental health system so desperately needs. The story begins way back in 2019. My wife, who was 30 at the time, had just moved to Canada from England on a work visa. As some of you may know, England has a culture that more often than not brushes things like mental health under the rug. So, for the past 30 years, she has silently struggled with her undiagnosed mental illness. Everything was going great. She discovered that you do, in fact, need winter boots in Canada, and that plant-based food is better here. She had also found a job supporting people with disabilities, which she absolutely loved. She learned a lot from being in a relationship with me. However, unfortunately, that would all change in 2020. Her work visa was nearing expiration, and she was still waiting for her permanent residency to be approved. It was also the year the world was thrown into a black hole of uncertainty and worry. In March 2020, Charlie ended up contracting COVID-like symptoms and was forced to stay home and isolate for 2 weeks. Now, for someone without mental illness, that would be fine. Maybe you'd pick up a new hobby, learn Spanish, or build the Back to the Future car so you could travel into the future. Unfortunately for Charlie, the black hole seemed to suck her in deeper. Her family doctor gave her some antidepressants, but those seemed to do more harm than good. She would stay up into the wee hours of the morning playing video games to try to keep her mind busy. But in the end, that didn't work, and she ended up in the hospital. Now, I want you to imagine that you're in my wife's shoes, and for the first time in 30 years, you finally get a chance to get the help you need. And the first thing you're asked by a psychiatrist is, why don't you go back to England and get help? Sadly, this was only the beginning of a 1.5-year long battle with a mental health system that is profoundly broken. For the next 1.5 years, she would have a multitude of things happen to her, things that she is not alone in enduring. She was carelessly cast aside by a counselor who she had grown to trust deeply because the counselor couldn't handle it. She would be discharged from an emergency room with a prescription bottle of pills by a resident who should have been fired after that decision, based on the fact that she had told the hospital she had a plan in mind to end her life that day. And the fact that after leaving the hospital, she would walk around aimlessly for the next 5 hours, not even fully aware of her surroundings or the incessant ringing of her cell phone. He would be told by a hospital emergency room that because he had been to the emergency room 3 days in a row, that they had done all they could for her. He would also spend weeks in the psychiatric ward of a hospital where he would be patronized, belittled, and misgendered on the sole basis that the name he goes by is a man's name. I know this to be true because I got into many arguments with nurses on the subject. After her stay in the hospital, he was given a referral for free counseling sessions through Alberta Health Services. The counselors she saw made her feel like they were trying to fulfill an agenda rather than actually help her. He also tried calling Access 24/7, who would make her wait on hold, and when they did finally answer, would read scripted answers that never seemed to change. Oh, are you feeling down? Why don't you go cook something or go exercise? Because, yes, those two things work for everyone. Spoiler alert, but spoiler alert, they don't. They actually don't. The reason that I wanted to share this story is because it sickens me to my core that people are treated this way by a system in a country that is praised for universal health care. I have family in the state who have had the audacity to say to me, oh, well, it's still better than the state. Is it really? Just because everything is covered, which by the way, in my wife's case, due to her immigration status, wasn't covered. Does that mean we should care about the standard? Sorry, does that mean we shouldn't care about the standard of care? Does the fact that it's free mean we should do our own rendition of the Wizard of Oz and never look behind the curtain? I hope you would all agree that no. No, we absolutely should not. I think for me, because I chose to use my anger at the system to drive my advocacy, I was able to do more good than bad. My hope for the future is that mental health professionals who treat people with mental illness will listen to them and to their loved ones and not act as though they know the person better than we know them or than they know themselves. I want you to think of this another way. When you break your leg, you go to the hospital and the doctor repairs the break. They don't judge you for breaking your leg. They don't belittle you because you broke your leg. Their job is to fix the break, right? So shouldn't it be the same if it's your brain that's affected? Shouldn't doctors treat a mental illness like they would a broken leg or a sprained arm? With empathy, compassion, and care. Especially considering that doctors take a Hippocratic oath, and as part of that oath is a promise to do no harm. I understand how tiring, stressful, and taxing being a healthcare professional can be. However, when people like my wife or anyone else walks into your exam room or office, they're there because they need help. Sorry, I just heard my own voice. Why am I hearing myself? Okay, sorry. They're there because they need help. They're there not because they're bored. They're there because the next hour is looking pretty grim. So treat them with the respect, the kindness, and the compassion and empathy that they deserve. My wife used to tell me all the time about the way she was treated and how it made her feel. I think for some people, myself included, if we're being treated negatively, it makes us not want or not accept the help. I'm sorry. That is being offered. We feel so disgusted by the treatment that that's all we focus on. You can never truly know how your words affect someone. So isn't it better to do whatever you can to make sure that that impact isn't negative, especially if you're trying to do no harm? Thankfully, my wife is doing much better now. She's on medication that works for her and has coping strategies that help her. We also have 3 guinea pigs, Reggie, Nuggy, and Teddy. They have truly helped my life. Some days I even worry she might love them more than she loves me. In closing, I will leave you with this thought. You are the medical professionals of tomorrow. Our mental health system and maybe parts of our healthcare system are broken. It's broken, but you have the opportunity to help fix it. Now, you may be thinking this is easier said than done. There's policies and procedures that you have to follow, and you're trained to do things a certain way. Kindness, empathy, and compassion are not found in a textbook, and no policy can force these emotions. No, these emotions can be found only in the heart. A great mentor of mine taught me more about life through his actions than his words ever did. Lead by example. Show others how Alberta healthcare should be. Treat your patients with kindness, compassion, and empathy. Just by doing that, you could save countless lives. Be the change that we need in healthcare. Thank you.
I also want to echo what Mikey said, but there are those rare nuggets of healthcare professionals that are the rare gems that come by. One is my counselor. I wish we can clone her, but sadly we can't. But also with my roommate and care provider who took her time, her car, her gas to drive me here, and that's why I'm able to be here in person and share. But I do also echo what Mikey says. You all are professionals of tomorrow, so that is big with what Mikey is saying.
Thank you, Angie, for adding on.
Sorry.
And thank you, Mike, for that speech. I read it, and I've been in the disability field for 10 years, and it still gave me like a rock in my stomach, even though it wasn't a surprising story to hear about the system. And so thank you, Mike, for sharing. It means a lot. And Amber and Angie, and for Alex, who wasn't here, but they have many wonderful stories, and also stories that aren't so wonderful about the healthcare system. And they work, each and every one of these individuals here works tirelessly to advocate for their own rights as well as other people's rights. And so they do that through the Disability Action Hall, which is on Thursdays. It's free for folks to join. A lot of, Angie says, we don't bite, we promise. I don't know if that's true, but but they do a lot of advocacy work here in Calgary as well as all over Alberta. And some of the folks from the Disability Action Hall are actually here to support the people presenting. And so it's huge. So I just encourage people to check out their work and support if you can. So now I'm going to turn it over to a question and answer section. So I'll lift my leg up. I brought running shoes. I'll walk, but I will run the mic to whoever has a question. So I will turn that over to the audience and the people online if they would like. And yeah, we're taking questions.
And for the folks that are in the chat on Teams, I think we're using, y'all can type your questions in the chat, and we would get to them as well.
Okay, thank you, Angie.
No worries.
And if you're not able to use the chat for whatever reason, I'm more than happy to leave my email address. I don't know about you, but
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
more than happy to do.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to do that.
Perfect.
We have 2 options. Yeah.
You don't have, you can do whatever you feel comfortable.
Hello.
Alright, Angie, Mike, Amber, you're ready?
This is not a question, this is more just a comment, to just say how incredibly grateful I am that I got this experience. I originally was not gonna come today until my amazing instructor over there was like, no, you need to come here, and I'm so glad that I did, because I can tell from a lot of people in this room and a lot of the people who are in the disability studies program like I am, we are going in this program to make a change. And I know when we first came in, I did not know about a lot of these experiences. I was shocked in my first class when I was like, this did not happen. People, no, there's no way someone would actually treat someone like that. And we are still learning every day, but we're so excited to be in this field, and just thank you for sharing your experiences with us so we can help grow from it and hopefully learn and not repeat them.
Yeah, you're welcome, not a problem. But there are those rare nuggets, like my roommate Twinkie, who is a rare nugget to come by. But no, I'm not sharing.
Thank you. And yeah, you know, I think that sometime, like I took 4 years of psychology, and you know, you kind of learn to put people in boxes, and then you realize that people don't fit in boxes. Like everybody is so complex in the way that they should be treated and communicated with and whatnot is different for everybody. So thank you.
Yeah, it's really different. And even with different support systems, like right now, I have a very awesome support system. And actually half of them are around me right now. So, and I'm dead serious, Mikey. And, you know, like my mom, my roommate, my doctors, my counselor, even you guys, like, and I, you know, and I'm dead serious when I say this, like I graduated through Bow Valley 6 years ago, and I really appreciated that they had the, whatever this is, the words that are up on the screen. Yes, thank you. And they had a person to explain the answer, but they didn't give the answer. So that really helps somebody with a learning disability. So that's why I said to Donna, bowvalleysthebomb.com. Same with University of Calgary. So they're both schools I would highly recommend. And I'm not just saying that, it's through experience.
Perfect. Thank you, Angie and Mike. We have a question in the chat. So the first question is, what can future disability allies and mental health workers do to improve services?
From my experience, just treat the person as they are, respect who they are, and even like my roommate said, to treat people like a human and not a number. That is the biggest thing that meant a lot to me. And also, just when some things happen, like with people being hurt by someone to care for them, try your best to be compassionate and not just get over it type of attitude. Just try and, you know, like what my roommate did for me when I first moved in and I had my terrible experience before her. She was compassionate and caring, and my mom stepped alongside. And so just kind of stuff like that is, and like Mikey said, words are big. Positive and affirmation are big. So those are important.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think person-centered, a person-centered approach is the best way to go. Because everybody with a
Bingo.
disability is different. We're not
Yep.
all the same. No two humans are the same. So why are we trying to treat all people with disabilities like this?
Exactly. Like even when they misdiagnosed me with my first doctor, they said I had FAS. And no, my mom didn't drink with me. It was, I have a disability that's caused by measles. So my first family doctor classified that wrong. My mom and I got super angry when she don't want to see short people get angry, and JK. But properly diagnosing, especially with mental illness, is a big key. Listening to the person, like I said in my speech, to a point, and also compassionate. Like again, I know I'm putting my roommate on a high school, but that's because she's by far the best roommate, and I had to go through 20 frogs to find my current roommate. So, but no, those are big affirmations, positive, words of encouragement, support, and especially if you all have the same belief, for, what's the word I'm looking for? Make that grow, like have that as a part of the relationship between you. And telling somebody you're not allowed to get attached to your care provider, that's a no-no. Because I'm very attached to mine, and you know, that needs to be understood, you know, because
Thanks for sharing, Angie.
Sorry. My roommate's done a lot for me. Sorry. And if it wasn't for my roommate, I wouldn't be here today. And I don't think she realizes how much, sorry. Yeah, just supporting the care providers as well is a big thing too, because I don't think they often get thank you, or you know, like what my friend Colleen's gonna do, or you know, just that's a big thing. But there are those rare nuggets in the system that are hard to come by that I am lucky to have.
We don't like to be called nuggets, but natural and professional supports are highly valued, and the time that they do put in for folks is needed, and of course it creates that relationship and quite a strong bond, so for both parties. So thank you, Angie. I'm just going to turn it over to Amber for a second to answer this question.
Talk to me first, I might slow, I do understand everything.
Perfect. Thank you, Amber.
exactly.
Yeah, so chatting to the person, forming those connections, as well as just treating people with dignity. One of our next questions is, as a student in my final term of practical nurse program with an invisible disability, shout out, I was wondering how I could be more involved. How could somebody with an invisible disability be more involved in the community?
Actually, you're right, it kind of is, LOL. Terrible, sorry, Bazinga. Anyway, what I do, I had mentioned at the beginning, I'm in Special Olympics, which I got second place, so if, any of you folks want to see the ribbon, I'd be more than happy to show it, LOL. I'm an advocate, with my friends at Disability Action Hall. I'm involved with my church, a lot of activities with them and a prayer group I go to. I'm also a weather forecaster, storm chaser, and crossing my fingers, I get email from a friend of mine, and I'm also a wickedly huge opportunity with my town. So I'm supposed to find out today. But yes, there are a lot of ways that somebody with an invisible disability like mine and my friends can get involved in the community if they would like to. Be a part of focus groups, be a part of an advocacy community. There's like a conglomerate of everything out there to be involved in. So, and I'm wearing one of the jackets too. So, yeah, just get yourself out there, enjoy what you're doing. You know, if it's to your liking and stuff, you know, just get yourself out there. There is a lot of variety out there for us, so.
I wanted to make mention too that there's a provincial advocacy organization called Albertans Advocating for Change Together, that I'm part of. And we do work throughout Alberta, like it's regional health advocacy groups that come together with our allies. It doesn't matter what kind of disability you have. Same with the Disability Action Hall. Same with the Self Advocacy Federation in Edmonton. It doesn't matter as long as you identify as having a disability. That's all that matters. So don't be afraid to, come to a disability action hall meeting. I'm sure that we can leave an email address for the hall. I'm gonna,
Colleen,
okay.
Hudson. We're putting you on the spot, Colleen.
We're gonna answer that question in a bit, because we gotta
Gotcha.
wrap up. Is there anybody else in here that would like to ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll pass the mic.
These are
Let me
here.
grab you. Before I pass the mic, good joke, Angie. Another thing that person with an invisible disability could do, just from my perspective as somebody who also has an invisible disability, they can definitely advocate for changes in their policies and procedures in different areas. You can advocate for universal design everywhere. Advocate for even having closed captioning, an ASL interpreter, things like that. Because oftentimes, majority of disabilities are invisible, and so we need to raise that awareness. So great question.
I have also,
Here, Angie, I'm just passing it to somebody else.
oh, my bad.
You three did a really good job today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Angie and Mike.
I also got the honor to, okay. I also got the honor recently, my friends got to witness it on the Zoom call for the planning of this presentation. I'm honored to be a safety ambassador for the Calgary Fire Department. And they want to collaborate with my fire department at home. And I'm hugely honored. And it was so funny, they're asking how to spell my name and stuff. And they said, well, we gotta make it official and give you some quote gear. And that's why I did the little happy dance on the Zoom the other day. So it's a huge honor.
Thank you, Angie, for sharing. So I'm going to read the final two questions. We might go over a little bit of time. The first question, this one's for Mike and Angie. Amber wanted to answer the last question, so I'm gonna pass it over to Mike and Angie for this one. Are you all ready?
Yipper.
Since some healthcare professionals may only have a few moments of interacting with clients or patients with a disability, what would your number one top tip in improving or ensuring that patients feel that care and compassion that is needed?
Be compassionate, just literally be kind to the person and realize that they're there for a reason. They're not there because they're bored. They're literally there because they need your help. So treat them with kindness, treat them with compassion, and just don't be rude. I mean, I know people have bad days, but you have to realize that that person is probably having the worst day of their life. And you have the power to make them feel okay and accepted and, cared for.
Exactly. Excuse me, sorry. I echo what Amber and Mikey had said, but not only that, like my roommate does, she treats me like a human and not a number. That is a big, big, big thing. Is, take my roommate's example or someone like my roommate and treat that person, or the person I should say, sorry, like a human. They're not a number, they're an individual, and they need that love and care, like Mikey and Amber have mentioned. And that's the big thing, is positive words. Even if you're feeling really angry inside and you want to take your storm out on them, if you need to sit down, talk with a person like my roommate does, and I am gonna say again, treat that person like a human and not a number. And I really love my roommate for doing that. And I know I shouldn't be setting her on a pedestal, but she does treat me like a human, and She has no idea how much that means to me. And if more people could do that, you know, but there, I know. But yeah, that's the biggest thing is,
The only thing I would just add really quick is, like Amber said, put yourself in that person's shoes and say, how would you want to be treated if you were in their position?
exactly, and that's what I like that my roommate does, is she puts herself in my shoes or someone else's shoes that has an invisible disability. And that's why I say she's a rare nugget to come by. But no, that's a very big thing, is compassion and caring and just being there for them. And it's a very big thing.
Yeah, thank you both for answering that question.
Welcome.
I'd say one of the top things that I see as somebody that has supported people in the healthcare world is, it's not my body. I don't have the answers for the other person's body. So don't ask me the questions, ask the person who is actually going in what their needs are. And we can figure out a plan for if they need help with that, but I'm not the person that they should be talking to.
And I mean, if you don't know how to communicate with that person, like maybe they are not verbal and you're not sure how they best communicate, ask the person how they want to be talked to.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, see, I got the thumbs up from Mike, so I know it's a stamp of approval. So the final question.
From the mic.
The final question, I'm gonna turn over to Amber to lock it down. Tough one, Amber. She knows what it is. When and where did the Disability Action Hall meet?
Meeting every Thursday night, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m.
Perfect. Yeah. So they meet every Thursday, as Amber said, and that can be Zoom. And I believe there's one that happens in person once a month. Yeah. Depending on the month.
Yeah.
And depending on rides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the slide to the thank you slide. Oh, that was a joke. Another one. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is the thank you slide. Oh my gosh. I really practiced a lot. So I'm just going to thank, let me make sure I get the acronym right. I'm just gonna thank FLIC for the ASL for today. So Janice over here from KLM. Also, obviously, we're gonna thank Sophia for captioning from CART today. And of course, we're gonna thank Bow Valley and the lovely IT. It means a lot. And of course, with Bow Valley.
11 out of 10 accessibility. So thank you to the IT people. You guys did an incredible job.
Big time.
And I don't say that to everyone, so.
Neither do I, but next time maybe lower the podium so that everyone can use it. LOL. Bazinga.
Yeah,
Right.
the shortest people to present showed up, myself included. So we're all 5'5". Oh, 4'8". Oh my gosh. Yeah. So thank you, of course, to Bow Valley, and for everybody here that attended. It means a lot that everybody here gets to share their story and that people take the time to listen. So thank you so much. And thank you to the Disability Action Hall for doing what they do. And of course, now I do know what I'm doing. Thank you to Calgary Scopes. They do a lot of amazing work. They run the Disability Action Hall. Colleen over there, she's wonderful. And Bruce, gotta give a shout out. And then, of course, all the,
Okay.
yeah, not with Scope. But yeah, so thank you, everybody. And of course, thanks to the Center for Sexuality, the Disability Action Hall, and the center have partnered up on a couple different things. And so we're thankful for Calgary Scopes and the Disability Action Hall. So thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.